It's the Atari Jaguar CD. This is the unit that I bought way back when these first came out. It flopped hard. More people bought Edsels than Jaguar CDs. Even though I didn't have a lot of Jaguar CD games, I still enjoyed playing them. Well, not all of them. Looking at you, Highlander. This is the screenshot they chose to show off the game on the front of the box. Looks like an origami squirrel in a playing card guard from Alice in Wonderland looking at dead trees while standing under a giant space hemorrhoid. These things are rare and it's hard to keep one in working order. Working ones go for like $1,000 on eBay. The CD drive in this one gave up the ghost several years ago, and I decided to do something dumb and try to replace it myself. I mean, how could you not want to keep something like this running? Check out all these great CD titles to look for. That one never came out, 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 that one never came out. This one was packed in with the drive, so yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled for that one. A word of warning. I'm not at all a professional. I'm likely doing a bunch of stuff wrong that will make experts spit at their screen. This is just for entertainment. I'm hoping for a quick and easy process with no soldering. As you can see, I've already taken a couple of screws out. I was having a peek inside to determine how many Xanaxes I need before attempting this, so let's dive in. There are 7 screws on the underside that you'll need to take off to get to the filth within, so let's take those off. Now we can open this up. The top half of the clamshell has a fiddly plastic post with a spring for the CD eject mechanism. Don't lose them if you like getting your CDs in and out. I totally understand if you don't. The top part of the clamshell can go away just like Atari's Hopes and Dreams. Now we have to take the board off the upper part of the clamshell. There's 2 screws on either side of the cartridge port and 2 screws at the bottom where the metal shielding is. You can now lift the board off the clamshell, but there's a wire leading to the CD eject sensor on the upper half. You'll need to get that removed like Jaguar boxes from shelves to clear space for PlayStations. The CD transport cradle is held to the board with a couple of clips. Gently push them into the center to separate the cradle from the board. Don't get your fingerprints on everything like I do. I'm not at all a professional. There's a bundle of wires secured in a little notch next to the motor hole, so you can feed those on through. There's a plastic clip holding the wire bundle from the motor in place. You'll need to get that taken out. Just give it some little wiggles back and forth. It's going to be the only time in your life that having the DTs really helps you out, and you can feed that through the motor spindle hole. And now you detach this ribbon cable. After having a cigarette, now you can take a look at the cradle holding the CD transport. Take special note of where all the wiring goes in case something goes wrong. I recommend taking photos of it so that they're easy to keep track of, and also to have something confusing to post when one of your friends on Facebook posts something like, "The third picture in your camera roll is the next Marvel hero to get their own Disney Plus show," or whatever. The most secure thing in this entire operation is this little piece of tape holding these 2 wires to the cradle. You're going to want to take that tape off. Turns out the tape was the only thing holding the blue wire to the solder joint up top. Maybe that was probably the whole problem with this, but with who knows what else may be being broken on this thing, and seeing as how I already spent $30 on a new laser transport, I'm just going to press on with the replacement. Welcome to the bane of your existence. There are 4 rubberized mounts holding the laser transport to the cradle. Each mount has a flared end sticking out the top of the cradle. And on the bottom of that rubberized mount is a rectangular end holding the transport in place. Between the 2 ends is a rounded piece. You're going to want to reach a tool through the top of the cradle, press it up against that rounded piece to get that rectangular end at the bottom to slide off the transport. Don't chew things up by attacking the rectangular piece like I did. Oh, and pro tip, don't be a 43-year-old guy with shaky hands. That's really going to help you out a lot. And yes, success. As a Jaguar CD owner, that's the first time I've ever felt it. On the left is the replacement part. It came with all the wiring ready to go, which is great because the more lazy I can be, the better. If you did this properly, which I didn't, you'll slide the transport onto the non-mangled rubber suspension mounts. They'll slide on as smoothly and painlessly as a salted piece of 30 grit sandpaper over a poison oak rash. And you're going to love all the new swear words you discover. Some of them even mention pastries. And we've run into a problem. So the new laser transport's wire bundle has a clip at the end that's too wide for the receptacle on the board because life is pain. So what I'm going to do is disconnect the original wire bundle from the old transport, then clip the connector off of the new wire transport and solder the new wires to the old wire clip. I'm sure someone's going to tell me I'm doing this wrong, but I don't give a frog's fat ass. So since the wiring is all different colors between the old transport and the new transport, what I'm doing here is making sure that I have all the colors matched up to the right places. There's a sheath on the old wire bundle that's holding all the wires together, and I need as much wire as I can get because I'm going to do a terrible job stripping them. So I'm cutting this sheath away to give the wires their first taste of freedom. You're going to want to be careful because if you're like me, you've already messed a bunch of stuff up and you're going to mess more stuff up later. So just do a few gentle scoring passes with the knife until you get the sheath apart. You don't want to cut the wires before you have a chance to cut the wires. Now it's time to snip all the wires to get the two wiring bundles apart from their respective components. You can make this fun by pretending you're defusing a bomb, except every wire leads to failure. With the connectors removed, you can now solder the new wiring bundle to the wires that lead to the old connector. It's time to start stripping. You can't hardly tell that this is the first time I've ever used a soldering iron. Alright, now it's time to get everything plugged back in. Now lift the cradle up from the bottom and clip it back into the board. Be careful not to put your left thumb where I put mine because there's a little tab that comes up into a notch, and it hurts like looking at a list of third-party support for the Jaguar. This horrific nightmare is finally coming to a close, so now you can put the board back into the clamshell. After that, you're going to want to fasten down the CD eject sensor to the clamshell. Now you refasten the screws that hold the board to the clamshell. Do not have a drink yet. Don't. As much as you want to, not yet. And this is why there's a little peg for the CD eject button. Just you got to get lined up in there with NASA grade precision, and then you got to put a spring on top of it, make sure it doesn't all fall over, because if it does, it's back to the curse word factory. Put the clamshells back together and make sure that CD eject button works. You likely messed something up, so just put a couple screws in on the bottom just so that you can get back into it easier. Now it's time to go test it out. Cross all your digits, pray to your favorite deity, and give it a whirl. And congratulations, now you can finally watch that Enter Sandman video in potato resolution just like you always dreamed. There, now you know how to waste 2 hours of your life, which is 1 hour more than Atari spent making this thing. Are you still watching this? Go